Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody is doing good. Shit up here. Alright. Hope everybody's having a good evening so far. We got some more rain. I was a little nervous. It was raining again, storming again, but it looked like it stormed early enough today where it won't mess with us. So we just see how things work out. Yesterday was a little crazy. It looked like one of them got the storm on out of the way so we can have our time tonight. At least that's what I'm hoping is going to work out that way. So then we'll give a couple of minutes, see if anybody join in. If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know a lot of people used to be doing it on Monday instead of Tuesday, so I don't expect a big crowd, but we shall see. I'm glad you guys are back tonight. I appreciate you being here. Yes, let's try this again. Actually, that's what I was just saying. Like, we'll try it again, see what happens. Old smutty face don't come messing with me. I'll just give like one more minute. Let the people get a chance to log in, and then we'll go ahead and start this party. I hope y'all are doing good. Did it storm down there in Dixie much? I know it hit New Johnsonville pretty hard a couple of hours ago, and Chris, I think you mentioned that it had hit Waverly pretty hard. But I mean, it was much. You can't complain. Much needed rain. My yard was looking horrible. All right, what'd you say? Actually, sound out, no sound. Chris, can you hear me? Oh, you know what? The sound was down. My bad. I've been sitting here running my mouth and y'all can't even hear nothing. I don't know how that happened. I think that would happen because I normally turn off my ringer and stuff, so nobody ain't sending me notifications and trying to call me while I'm doing this. All right, so go ahead and open your Bibles up. We're gonna go back and try this for the second time in the book of Samuel. And of course, since I deleted the video, I'm gonna have to start all the way over from the beginning. So if y'all was there for the first part, I'm gonna repeat myself, but it's not because I ain't got nothing better to talk about. It's just the other video got deleted, so I wanted to make sure. So we got Ashley, is that good? The sound should be coming through now. I had my you can hear the whole time. Okay. All right. So once again, thank y'all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate y'all. This is a different night than usual, and I know both of y'all was here last night and it didn't quite work out, so I appreciate you being back here tonight as well. Brother John Stewart, on behalf of the Lost Sheep Ministry, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church, and we're here to bring you a lesson tonight. If you caught last night, a little bit of last night, what little bit I could get in, you already know what the lesson about, but like I said, some people didn't make it in, and I ended up deleting the video because it was just it was so sporadic last night. So I'm gonna start back over from the beginning like I did last night. So the first part you guys are probably familiar with already, but then we're gonna hopefully everything will go good and we can go ahead and go make it through this lesson. So again tonight, if y'all saw the Facebook post, we're going through 2 Samuel. Y'all know I've been going, basically started at the beginning in Genesis, and I'm just going on through the Bible, through the Old Testament, and just teaching biblical concepts, depending on what the story is. Some stories have themes to them. Some just have biblical concepts. And I know tonight's story don't really have a theme to it, per se, but I do got several biblical concepts that I came across as I was putting this lesson together. But overall, for the lesson overall, it's an introduction to the book of Samuel, and it's an introduction to the era, what I call the era of the kings, which is the beginning of the end. And of course, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but eventually Samuel is at this point. Y'all remember we've been going over Judges. We went over Judges a few months ago. Then we went over Ruth. We finished our Ruth a couple of weeks ago, and then we had hopped over Corinthians. But you remember in Judges, this is the point of Judges. It's still kind of the time of the Judges. And y'all remember at the end of Judges, there was a statement, man, that in those days Israel had no king, so every man did what was right in his own eyes. So that's kind of where we're still at that point there. But between that last book of Judges And this first book of Samuel, it's been quite some time. It doesn't say exactly how long it's been. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 100 years or so, maybe up to there. Like I said, I could be wrong. But if you know, as you read through Samuel and just listen to the verbiage of it, the way it talks, it's been quite some time. It's been at least 2 or 3 generations since the Israelites have basically just gone astray. And they had gone astray to the point where God was no longer talking to them. God was no longer sending them judges. He was no longer sending his godly people messages. Like nobody had even heard from God in quite some time. And like I said, when we get into chapter 2, we're going to see that, because when God finally does speak, I think it's chapter 3 actually, when God finally does speak, it's chapter 3 that it had been so long since God had talked to his people that when God finally did speak, they didn't even know it was God speaking to them. They didn't even the guy in the story, Samuel, he didn't even know it was God, and even the preacher didn't know it was God, because it has been so long since God had spoke to them, because they had been strayed away. And they was living in a way kind of like what America is, just everybody doing whatever felt good to them. They wasn't following, no longer following biblical principles. They had a form of godliness. It's kind of like what Paul talked about. They had a form of godliness, but they was truly denying the power of God. And they wasn't living by the power of God any longer because of the way they were living their lives. So God had he hadn't abandoned them, but he wasn't fooling with them like he was in the beginning when Moses was leading them, and Moses was meeting with them on a regular day basis. And the same with Joshua, and even with the judges. He showed up a couple of times in the book of Judges. But after the book of Judges, like I said, from the last chapter of Judges to probably the first chapter of Samuel, it's probably been at least 100. It might have been longer, it could have been less. I don't know for sure, but it's been quite some time. Like I said, at least 2 or 3 generations has passed by where they wasn't doing what they was doing, so therefore the Lord stopped talking to them. So we're going to look at Samuel tonight. Again, it's the introduction, no overall theme of the chapter per se, but we're going to get an introduction to Samuel's mom and his dad and their family, and kind of come to some of the things that was going on in their family and the things that they had going on in their family at the time, and that led up to Samuel being born and end up ultimately being the first prophet in the nation of Israel in a long time. So that's what we're going to do. So again, no set theme, but there are several really good biblical principles that I came across as I was going through putting this lesson together. So I'm just going to share those biblical principles as we read through this, and we're going to get started in the book of Samuel, like I said. And like I said, overall title, if you want to look at it as we go through Samuel, just something to keep in the back of your mind. I call it 1 Samuel chapter 1, the era of the kings, the era of the kings, the beginning of the end. And that's what I believe this book symbolizes. Now, of course, it's going to take years and years, hundreds of years to get there, but it's going to start. The beginning of the end is going to start right here in this book of Samuel. So that's the little introduction. Like I said, some good biblical principles. I'm going to pull in some other verses from other chapters today, and hopefully we have a good time and we all learn some that'll help us get close to the Lord. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and we're going to jump into this. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity. Normally I would have been a Tuesday, I would have had my lost sheep, but it worked out perfectly this week where I didn't have a lost sheep tonight as far as the in-person meeting tonight. So we was able to move it from last night to tonight because we know we had those technical difficulties. And Lord, I know that the devil had something to do with that. There was several people that was in the meeting that normally don't show up to it, and because I had to move it to tonight, they may get to see it, they may not. But either way it go, Lord, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I thank you for the ones that did show back up tonight, that didn't get to catch a neck last night. And I just thank you so much for letting me have a good, safe day at work today, and being able to get here and present this word. I thank you for letting your spirit work in my heart to put these lessons together and pull out these truths as I went through these verses. And I thank you so much for just using me and this ministry to do our part, to honor and glorify your name and actively build your kingdom. So, Lord, I ask you, watch over us as we go through this session tonight. I pray the weather work with us and everything goes smoothly so we can actually get the lesson done tonight. But more important than that, Lord, I just pray that you keep your hand upon my heart and let your spirit work through me to present these truths that I found throughout this chapter, Lord, and present it to the people and let it soak into their hearts and their minds, that bring them under conviction of some things they're doing that they need to stop doing, or some things they're not doing they need to do. Bring them under conviction about those things and give them the want to make that change so they can have a closer relationship with you. We just ask you to watch over us tonight, guide this session, and let everything be said that need to be said to honor and glorify your kingdom and build your honor and glorify your name and build your kingdom. We just thank you so much for everything, and I say this prayer in your wonderful Son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So let me get some of this high quality H2O. And then we're going to jump into this. So again, we're in Samuel. The Lord, and like I said, what's going on is still counting the time of the judges till the end of Judges, where the Israelites have just basically turned their back on God. So God is no longer communicating with them. But, you know, God is not going to abandon his people. And when he sees somebody worthy of his love, worthy of his attention, his affection, he's going to show it to him. And that's what's going to end up happening with Samuel. But first, we're going to see the beginning of Samuel's family and what his mom had to go through to get him here. So, of course, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 1. If you got your Bibles open, and I'm going to be reading out the New Living Translation. Of course, I'm a King James believer, believe wholeheartedly in the King James Version of the Bible, but I always like to read that New Living Translation because my ministry is the Lost Sheep Ministry. It's for people that may be uneducated or just don't have that close relationship with God just yet, so they don't understand the Word. So I always read the Word out of here so they can understand exactly what's being said. And if we come to a point where I need to say the King James because they misquoted or something like that, then I will read the King James. But for the most part, we're going to be in the New Living Translation. As I'm looking through, I don't see anywhere where I need to quote the King James instead of the New Living Translation. So that's where we will be at tonight. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this lesson. Again, it's 1 Samuel chapter 1. The Lord tells us this in verse 1. He said, there was a man named Elkanah who lived in Ramah, in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jeroham and grandson of Elihu, from the family of Tohah and the clan of Zuph. Elkanah had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah had children, but while Hannah did not. So the first one, and again, we did make it to this far yesterday, but the first one, again, I got to reteach it because I diluted the video. So the first point of tonight, the first thing I see here is number one, and this is more for women than anything. Well, it is for women. Don't take your ability to have children for granted. You know what I'm saying? Everybody cannot have children. You know, I know several people that want children and they actually can't have children. I actually got a friend of mine that wanted kids so bad that they end up going to Barbados. They had to go they went and got some treatment and they had to go like out of the country to Barbados to get this treatment that will allow them to have children. You know what I'm saying? So we look at children because it seems like there's so many of them and it's so easy to do, and it seems like you just lay down and have sex and that's it, the child is automatically, and that's actually not true. There are so many things that has to happen for a woman to get pregnant. Like, so everything has to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though that's why sometimes, you know, women, I know women that had sex like one time, and the first time they had sex, bam, they got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like, oh, that's because they had sex, they got pregnant. No, everything has to be right. There's so many things. The menstruation period had to go at the right time. I mean, it's so many things that have to happen, and the stars really have to align for a woman to have a child. Because I know women that want children that physically there's nothing wrong with them. They've actually been checked out by doctors. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with their husband, but yet they don't have babies. You see what I'm saying? But we take it for granted these days to the point where when women get pregnant, they just decide, well, I don't want that baby right now. I'll just get rid of it and I'll try to have me one later on. You know what I'm saying? And we don't realize when we do it that we're taking that for granted, and we don't understand something we got to understand about children. No matter how the child was conceived, children are a blessing from God. And that's what you got to understand. Children are a blessing from God. I know, yes, they're hard-headed at times, and they're a lot of work, but children really are a blessing from God. I know that me having my kids is definitely one of the reasons why I am the way I am, the reason why I work as hard as I work, and the reason why I'm able to do this ministry, because I have their support and they really keep me going. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times I see people that don't like to be around their kids or try to do everything they can to avoid being around their wife and kids. And I love hanging out with my kids. Like, every time we go out somewhere or anytime we do anything, it's always a good time. You know what I'm saying? I love being around my kids. My kids motivate me to do more. You know what I'm saying? I want to be, they motivate me to do more because when my kids, because we all have people that we look up to, in the world. We all have, not necessarily the idols, but we all have people that we look up to, that motivate us or inspire us or whatever. And I work so hard because I want to be my kid's hero. I want to be the hero of my kid's life. It burns me up. You know what I'm saying? If it would burn me up if I hear my kids talking about somebody else as their hero, as much work I done put in and how I done work to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? And children are a blessing. They push you forward. I know so many people that had rough lives that would have given up by now if it wasn't for their kids. I know so many people that are lonely, that would be lonely and depressed because maybe they lost their loved one and they was able to make it through because they had their kids. Children are a blessing, and the Bible tells us this. And again, I read this to y'all the other night, but I just want to reiterate it. In Psalm 127, verses 3-5, this is what the Lord says. It says, children are a gift from the Lord. That's a gift. You know what I'm saying? And what you got to understand, what is a gift? A gift is something that someone gives you because they love you. You know what I'm saying? And it says the Lord loves you enough that he gave you a gift. That's why back in the day, and that's why we're going to see in the story this lady, Hannah, that didn't have a child, she's going to have to deal with this because back in the day, it was an honor to have children. You know what I'm saying? It was an honor for a woman to be able to have a child that so her husband's seed could, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it was such a privilege to have a child that in the old Israelite law, earlier, I don't know if I shared those laws with you, but it was such a privilege to have a child. It was so important to have a child to carry on the husband's name that if the husband married somebody and he died but without having children, his brother, according to the law, his brother actually had to marry his wife and have a child for to honor his brother and give the child his brother's name. You know what I'm saying? That's how critical it was to have a child. You know what I'm saying? So women back there was begging to have children. They was hoping to have children, and they couldn't. And then you got women today that can just have this, seem to be having children all willy-nilly and then getting rid of the children because it's inconvenient for them. And they don't realize what they're doing. They're getting rid of a blessing because, again, it says, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. A reward. In other words, you know what I'm saying? What's a reward? A reward is something you get for doing good. And again, that's why women were ashamed back in the day when they couldn't have children because in their mind, oh, I must be such a horrible person that the Lord didn't see fit to make me a mother. You know what I'm saying? That's how they think. And they did it because they didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Some of it is just they was was sterile, or you know what I'm saying, had some physical incapability that didn't allow them to have them children. But they just saw it as in their minds, oh, I'm cursed. You know what I'm saying? I'm such a horrible person that the Lord wouldn't bless me with children. That's how they looked upon it. So for you to not to have a child, if you was married and didn't have a child back in the day, then that was a shame. Women that couldn't have children back in the day, they covered their face. They didn't even want to be seen in town because they knew that children were a blessing from God. And we've forgotten that. We've forgotten how important it is to have children. You know what I'm saying? So it says, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Children born to a young man are like sharp arrows in a warrior's hand. How happy is the man whose quiver is full of them? See, I'm happy because I definitely got a quiver full. You know what I'm saying? But it says, how happy is the man whose quiver is full of them? He will not be put to shame when he confronts his accusers at the city gates. See what I'm saying? Because that's a blessing. A man that has a children, because every child you have, there's a potential for some greatness there. You know, there's also a potential for them to mess up and be knuckleheads, but there's also a potential for greatness there. But even not only that, you know your legacy, your DNA, your legacy, your heritage is gonna go forward because you brought a kid forward. You know, I know guys that, man, I don't want no kids. I'm like, man, I just don't understand how you want to be in this world and not want to leave something behind, a piece of you behind. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave the possibility of your legacy behind. It's insane. You know what I'm saying? Because children, like as some say, it's a gift from God. And that's why, and something I talked about last night, that's why I have such a problem with today's feminism and the whole abortion thing. I mean, the Bible just said they are a reward from God. You know what I'm saying? Children are a reward from God. Actually, you had to mute it. You didn't want to hear what I was saying anyway. But again, it said children are a reward from God. So that's why abortions so offensive to me. One is murder. You can call it what you want to, put the name like abortion so you don't feel sorry, but you murdering a child. Because if you didn't kill it, it will grow. So you're murdering a child. You know what I'm saying? But even worse than that, you're rejecting this gift that God has given you. You know what I'm saying? You reject God has given you a gift and gave, you know what I'm saying, by blessing you with a child, the fruit of the womb. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, if you read, like I said, this is more for women, because if you read the King James version, I am going to jump on the King James. He said, "Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward." You know what I'm saying? That's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? That's a blessing. And we getting rid of these rewards. We just throwing away these gifts that God has given us without even thinking about it, because we've gotten so far from God. And we don't understand what it really means to have God love. And that's the crazy part. You know, women will do stuff like that, and then, you know, they end up having a rough life or whatever, and be like, well, God didn't love me. Yeah, he did love you, because he gave you a child, but you got rid of it. You got rid of that gift that he gave you. You got rid of that reward. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why you feeling the way you feeling right now. You see what I'm saying? Because you got rid of, God tried to give you a gift and you rejected that gift. And I see it so much even with soul winning. When I go out and I explain to people with soul winning that being saved is a gift. And there's so many people that I come across that know they're not saved. And, you know, you try to, you know, share the gospel with them. They know they're not saved, and they still reject that gift. It blows my mind. I just don't understand. Like, how can you give up something something so great? Same with being a mother. That is and again, that's why I had a problem with the feminism, because they treat women. They got women convinced that, oh, girl, don't have no kids and mess your body up, and then you stuck at, you know what I'm saying, taking care of a kid. You know, get out there, go do you, find you a ball, or be, you know what I'm saying, or get you a job, become a corporate woman, be a bad bee. You know what I'm saying? They've convinced women that being a bad bee and being Miss Independent and have a job and not being at the house taking care of kids is the way to go, is the thing to do, so they can really live life. And they don't realize, yeah, you may gain some money, you may gain some notoriety, you might have a little fun, but to me, and I'm not a woman, so I can't make this opinion, but just from the outside looking in, to me, the greatest thing, the greatest part about being a woman, the greatest reward about being a woman is the ability to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? A life was created in you, and you carried that life and brought it into the world and nurtured that child. To me, there's nothing greater than that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the world looks at that way. Because look at Mother's Day. Look at Mother's Day. When Mother's Day come around, man, it's all kind of sales. You know what I'm saying? All the restaurants are booked solid. You know what I'm saying? And you can't go nowhere because everything is so packed, because people out celebrating their moms. You look at these songs, you know what I'm saying? These guys on football, these big football players, they get on there, hey mom, you know, these songs, hey mom, all these rappers, everybody talking about the mama, because it's so important for a woman to be able to do that, to make that choice, to not only, you know what I'm saying, to make that choice to, once she found out she was pregnant, not only make that choice to bring that child to the world, but to nurture that child. You know what I'm saying? So when this feminism teach women not to do it, that they shouldn't do that, they should save their body and, you know, say go get a career, do all that. And again, there might be some gains in doing that. Yeah, that's true, dear mama. That's right, dear mama. Exactly, Ashley. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. But I believe they're missing out on one of the most important things that you can do as a woman, which is have a child. And again, I'm not a woman. So I can't say, but this is my own personal opinion. I think that's the greatest thing that women do, have children. You know what I'm saying? I think the second greatest thing is they do is support their husband. You know what I'm saying? As a mother. You know what I'm saying? As the matriarch of the family. Like, I tell y'all now, all this is, people always congratulate me on my success and all that, talk about how proud they are of me. And I'm going to let you know right now, I couldn't do none of the stuff that I do, this ministry that I do, my job that I have, all the stuff I do because I have a wonderful wife that supports me and take care of my kids, so I can do these things. You know what I'm saying? I know I can go travel to where I need to go to do God's work. I know I can stay out late doing God's work, because I know that wonderful woman that's being a mother, that with her motherly quality, is my kids going to be taken care of. I don't have to sit there and watch them 24 hours a day. I know they're taken care of. That's why I've never worried about her working. It ain't to control her or to keep her from living her life. It's because I wanted to make sure she had all the time she needed to do what she needed to do, take care of those kids. Because that's the most important thing that a woman can do, nurture the kid. And another thing, to show you how crazy it is and how important it is, if you do your research if you look up most serial killers, most people the guys that were serial killers, especially the ones that took a lot of their anger, frustration out on women, it was all because of the relationship they had with their mother. That's the insane part. You know what I'm saying? Somehow had that, yeah, some people have daddy issues, but the mother, the mother and the matriarchs have so much of an impact on families and really the well-being of this world. And women are giving that away because the feminists have convinced them that that's not something they should do. You know what I'm saying? It breaks my heart to see that. You know what I'm saying? Again, by all means, if you don't want to have kids and have the stress marks and all that, and you want to end up alone when you're older with all kind of money, alone in a nice big house with 20 cats, then by all means, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times 10, you have some children and you nurture them right and you bring them up right, you're going to always have somebody there that's going to look in on you and take care of you. Even if they don't always visit, because, you know, especially if you got like girls that might get married and move off or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But most boys are attached to their mom. They're going to always make sure that mom is going to take, even though they don't do it themselves, they'll make sure that mom is going to be taken care of. You'll always have somebody to have your back and to take care of you. And I think that this feminism and abortions is feminism and abortion is taking away the reward, one of the greatest reward that the Lord has given a woman, which is to be able to bring a life into this world. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many women that, like I said, they take it for granted. You know, when there's women out there that, I mean, even if you had a kid and you don't feel like you keep it, at least give it up for adoption. Give somebody else that can't have kids you know what I'm saying, the option or to have the opportunity to be able to take care of a kid. You know, so I know several women that would love to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you just got abortions or people that feminists, oh no, don't do that. Don't mess your body up, be a bad bee, girl. You know what I'm saying? I got people out there doing that, and they're really rejecting one of the greatest rewards I believe that the Lord has given women, and it's to be a mother. It's none like it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like it. So don't take your ability to have children for granted. Don't think just because you just because you lay down and have sex, you're gonna automatically get pregnant. That don't always happen with everybody. Like I said, it's a lot of things that happen. The stars really have to line. We like I said, we do it so much and we have so many kids that we think, oh, you just have sex, it happened. But in reality, if you look at the science behind it, the stars really do have to align each time for a woman to have children. Because again, there's people that I know of that are physically fine, nothing wrong with them, and they've been trying for years and still don't have kids. So again, children are a blessing. Make sure you remember that children are a blessing, and since children are a blessing, do not take your ability to have children for granted. You know what I'm saying? I know people that think they might not be great mom. I know a woman that she was scared to have children because she's like, no, cause she was a drug addict back in the day, and she's like, there's no way I'm gonna be a good mom. And she has 2 children, and I'm telling you, just it naturally kicks in. That mom and ability naturally kicks in, and she's a phenomenal mom. You know what I'm saying? Both of her children are great children, smart as all get out. You know what I'm saying? She's kept them healthy, she kept them safe, she kept them protected, provided for them all them years. You know what I'm saying? So don't take your ability to have children for granted, because there's some people out there that don't have that ability. They wish they really did have it. And we're going to see that as we go through the story here with this lady Hannah tonight. So then in the next verse, it says, verse 3 says, so each year Elkanah and his family would travel to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at the tabernacle. So that's going to bring us to number 2. And this is something that we've talked about before, especially when we went through the book of Judges. We talked about this when we went through the book of Judges, and because the book of Judges was based on the vicious cycle. So we talked about this when we went through the book of Judges on how to break that vicious cycle. And this is kind of here too, because he says that each year Elkanah and his family would travel to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at the tabernacle. So number 2 is this. Now, this is just some biblical concepts I pulled out as I was reading through this chapter and putting this lesson together. Number 2 is this: a consistent relationship with God will bring you the blessings of God. Again, a consistent relationship with God will bring you the blessings of God. So many people, and I get this so much, so many people always complaining about God, always complaining that they feel they getting they prayers are being answered, God ain't with them, God don't listen to them, blah blah blah. They go on and they make all these complaints about God and what God ain't doing for them. And then when you ask them, okay, well, when the last time you been to church? Well, I went for Easter. You know what I'm saying? You ask them, oh, well, when the last time you read your Bible? Oh, well, you know, I had it, you know what I'm saying? It's been a little while. That's why it's been a little while. You know what I'm saying? When the last time you told anybody about the Lord? I ain't never really did that. I'm ashamed to talk to people. You see what I'm saying? They have no consistency in their relationship with God, and that's how you get the blessings of God. I don't know how many times I can teach all this. I don't know how many times I can say it, and I know I've said it. You know, it's like beating a dead horse, but I keep saying it because it's so important. You have to understand that the only way you're going to get the blessings of God is you got to be consistent in your relationship with God. And I've told y'all this, and y'all heard me say it a million times. It's 3 things I do every single day. Read my Bible every day, I pray every day, and I look for opportunities to tell people about the Lord every single day. That's why I keep gospel tracts in my pocket, because I'm trying to, if the opportunity arises, matter of fact, right before I came here, I had to stop at the gas station. You know what I'm saying? Right before I came to do this, I stopped at the gas station, and when I went in, I gave both of the cashiers at the gas station gospel tract. You know what I'm saying? I haven't got to read my Bible yet, because I read my Bible after I do my lessons. You know what I'm saying? But I have prayed for the day. I always start my day off in prayer. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to really be able to see the blessings of God in your life, if you really want to have God's grace on your life and God's blessing on your life, then you have to have a consistent relationship with Him. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that you're doing when everything is going good is the same thing you need to do when everything is going bad. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, I've noticed, like I said, I think I told y'all this story before. I remember this one lady I was working with trying to get her to read a Bible, and she finally got to a point where she was reading the Bible. And she was excited about it. She was doing good. You know what I'm saying? Every time, because I worked with her, every time I came to work, she had questions for me. Oh, what does this mean? What is he talking about here? So I was excited about it. You know what I'm saying? This went on for a few weeks. And then a few weeks later, just like the devil always do, some stuff going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff happened. And you know what I'm saying? And she got to talking about what she was going through. And she was having this problem with this person, this and that and that. And she was just going on and on. And I noticed she didn't have that same joy that she had when I was coming to work and she was talking about her Bible. So I asked her, I said, just, you know, I said, let me ask you something. You talking about all the stuff you're going through and you want to commit violence against another person. Let me ask you this. Like, when the last time you read your Bible? Well, you know, I've had so much going on, you know, I just really ain't had the time to do it. And I say, see, that's why things are going crazy right now. That's why things are going bad for you right now. You're not being consistent in your relationship with God. You have to be consistent in that relationship. The same thing, like I said, the same things that you're doing when things are going, you got to, you know, I did a lesson a little while ago, you know, do you praise God in the valley the same way you do on the mountaintop? And that is the key to showing God, because it shows God that you really love Him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with Job. You know, Job had everything. And he always praised God because he had everything. But then when everything got taken away from him, what did he say? The Lord giveth, the Lord take away. You know what I'm saying? He said the Lord giveth. He didn't get all upset. Now later on, he ended up just kind of getting down and kind of depressed and kind of questioning God a little bit. But he never did lose his faith in God. You know what I'm saying? He always kept his faith in God. See what I'm saying? So even when God had taken everything from him, he said, "The Lord, though the Lord slay me, I will put my faith and trust in Him." You see what I'm saying? And that was Joe. He lost everything in a matter of hours. He went from being the richest, most blessed man in the land to feeling like he was cursed. Matter of fact, he was saying like, man, I wish that I'd never been born. Like his acne was so bad that at one point he wished that he'd never been born. But he never, even his wife told him, why don't you just go ahead and curse God and die? Why don't you just go ahead and curse God and die? And what did Job say? He said, should I only receive the good from God and not the bad? You know what I'm saying? The Lord give the Lord that. That was his attitude. And what happened? Yes, he kind of got down in the dumps and he kind of questioned God a little bit, but he never turned his back on God. And when that happened in the end, because he stayed faithful, even though, you know what I'm saying, God was putting him to the test, because he was a righteous man. He was doing everything he was supposed to be doing. Stuff still went bad for him. He stayed faithful. And after the Lord confronted him about asking him questions, like, no, who are you to be answering me questions? What did he do? He blessed them with twice as much as he had that he had before the God took everything from him. Why? Because he stayed faithful. You know, he stayed faithful. Even when God had took everything from him, he said, you know, he gave it, and he said, in the womb, I came out the womb naked, and to the naked I shall return to the dirt, or something like that. I'm misquoting that. But he is faithful in God. He didn't get upset at God because things were no longer going good for him. He didn't get upset at God because he had a few hiccups, because the devil was literally putting him to the test. he kept his faith and trust in God, and because of that, God rewarded him in the end. So that's how you get the blessings of God in your life. I'm not going to belabor to take as long with this point because I've preached it so many times, but I do want to stress how important it is. If you want to see God, and that's why I tell people when I lead them to the Lord, when I lead people to the Lord, and people, y'all in my ministry know I talk about this all the time. If you really want to see God working in your life, if you really want to feel God's presence in your life, if you really want to know that the Lord is for you, then you have to have a consistent relationship with God. You got to be consistent with your relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to praise him the same way in the valley as you do on the mountaintop. Because if you only praise him when the good coming in, that means he's only good to you. You only love him when he's giving you stuff and he doing stuff for you. But you got to love him regardless. You know what I'm saying? You got to love him through that all thing. That's why Romans 8:28 is my verse. Because if you really love God, you'll understand that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, and to them that love the Lord, to them who are the called according to his purpose. You see what I'm saying? All things, not just the good things, not just the bad things, but all things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, they all work together for good. So therefore, when you're having the good days, yes, praise the Lord. But when you have the bad days, yes, praise the Lord. Either way it go, praise the Lord in all things, whether good or bad. And then if you're able to do that, your relationship with the Lord will be consistent, and you will be able to see the Lord's hand in your life, and you will have the blessings of the Lord in your life. So number 2, a consistent relationship with God will bring you the blessings of God. And we see it said each year, this is something this man, and you got to understand, it was some work involved there, because he was from Ephraim, and Ephraim wasn't far from Judah, for where they went for the worship at the temple, but it wasn't close neither. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, he had his wife, he had his kids with him, and they had to walk everywhere they go. And because, you know, the journey took so long, they had to bring supplies and all that stuff. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy thing. It was, you know, you think it's hard for us to get up and go to church now. It was really hard for them to get to church. So it could have been they could have easily been like, man, you know what? I ain't got the strength to travel this year. But no, every single year, this man made that trip to go worship the Lord. So it shows you that he was consistent in his relationship. And of course, because he was consistent and he was the leader of the house, his wives were consistent as well. And we'll see because of that, the Lord is going to end up blessing his family. So then the next verse he says this. He says, the Lord tells us this in the next verse. He says, so the priests of the Lord at that time were the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas. Now y'all remember these guys. These guys are scoundrels. They ain't gonna talk about them no more. They just mention them right here. But these are some horrible children right here. You know what I'm saying? I talked about children. I say I know they blessings, but these guys, these some horrible children right here. They gonna come back up in the next verse. The next chapter. Whenever we go to the next chapter. But just make sure kind of put a pin in that and remember these guys. So then it says, so on the day Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give, on the day Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give portions of the sacrifice to Peninnah and each of her children. So number 3 is this. And again, these are just some general concepts that I was coming up with as I went through this chapter of Samuel. Number 3 is this. As a man, you know what I'm saying? Because the first one was for the women. This one right here is for the men. So as a man, it is your duty to make the sacrifices so that your children are taken care of. That is our duty as a man. You know what I'm saying? As men, it is your duty to make the sacrifices. And what sacrifice I'm talking about? Now here, he was actually making actual sacrifices. They was actually sacrificing animals. But what I'm talking about when I say sacrifices, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about your time. I'm talking about your effort. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I'm talking about sacrificing what some consider your fun. You see what I'm saying? Get away from that stuff. Get away from the drinking. And once you have kids, it's time to put all that stuff away. You know what I'm saying? Once you have kids, it's time to put away the partying and the drinking and the hanging out with your friends all night and the doing the drugs and all that stuff. Once you have kids, you got to make that sacrifice. What up, Aunt? Glad you was able to join, man. I appreciate you being here tonight. But once you become man, you got to make this sacrifice. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's something I had to learn. That's something I had to do because I had father figures. I had great men that came along and nurtured me along. Great men that came along that wasn't family when my dad, but nurtured me so they was like my dad. You know what I'm saying? I always had great men to come along and help me out. But you know what I'm saying, I became a father myself, and took some time and me getting into my Bible and wisdom and all those things. But I had to learn, man. I had to make those sacrifices. I couldn't live the way I used to live before I had the kids. I had to make those sacrifices. I had to get away from anything that could possibly keep me from being able to provide for my family. That's one of the main reasons why I no longer smoke marijuana. I have a wonderful job right now. And as long as I do my work and show up like I've been doing for these last 8-9 years, then I'll be fine. The only thing I think that would you know what I'm saying, jeopardize me having that job is if I went in there and I failed a drug test. You know what I'm saying? And they end up firing. And they might give you another chance. I don't know how that works because I've never had to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But things like that, if you know what I'm saying, it's so many people out here I know that need jobs, need the work, but they can't get jobs because they can't stop smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? And they got kids that they supposed to be taking care of. They got families that they need to provide for, but they're more concerned with getting high and hanging out with their friends than they are of doing what they need to do to get a job so they can take care of their family. And that's your duty as a man. Your duty as a man to do whatever you need to do, make that sacrifice to make sure your family is taken care of. And that's what he was doing. He was making these sacrifices, and because he was making these sacrifices, he was able to give a portion to his kids. You see what I'm saying? You should be able to do the same thing. Your kids should have a portion. They should have something that once you're gone, once you passed on, they should have something that you should be passing on to them. That's their portion. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my kids, now I don't have a lot of assets now, but you know what I'm saying, if something was to happen to me, I have enough life insurance covered that with my kids, they're going to have a portion. They're going to have some stuff. And you know, there's guys out here, man, they spend all kind of money on drugs and rims and cars and buying Gucci and things of that nature, and they don't even have something as simple as life insurance. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have something that if they was to pass on, that their kids and their baby mama or their wife or whatever would be taken care of. Because they're so concerned with flossing and you know what I'm saying, and trying to look good and trying to have nice things that they're not even worried about leaving a portion for their kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's weakness to me. I'm telling you, one of the weakest things that I feel is weakness to me is any man that have a child and like not taking care of his child. That to me, I don't like it. That's what the Lord called an abomination to me. Any man is out here. Now I understand sometimes you have crazy baby mamas, and she brought her crazy because you made her that way. You know what I'm saying? I understand it ain't always easy to deal with your baby mama, that kind of thing, and that's cool. But you still should be doing everything you can. I'm telling you, if me and Rez something was to happen, we just split up. I don't care what she said. I don't care what she would do. I'm gonna make sure I do whatever I gotta do to be in my kids' life and be able to take care of my kids. What's up, Kelly? Appreciate you stopping here, man. Hope everything's going good for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I'm taking care of my kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to deal with the mama to take care of my kids. I don't care if I got to write my kids or email my kids so I can spend time with them. If you know what I'm saying? If it's a situation where the court gave her full custody and she could determine whether I can see them or not. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I got to do, if the court say, hey, you know what I'm saying, if she leave me and she moved to, you know what I'm saying, moved to Alaska, and I'm on the court on the grant me, 2 hours a week, then I'm going to make sure you know what I'm saying, to go visit them. Then I'm going to make sure that every time I get that opportunity, I'm going to go, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to go to Alaska to visit my kids, even if it's for 2 hours. I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to make whatever sacrifice I can to make sure my kids are taken care of and to be in my kids' life. You know what I'm saying? That is our responsibility as a father. So that's why you should live your life. If you out here wilding out, you out here drinking all the time and partying all the time, wasting your money, doing silly stuff. I get on my older son, it burns me. I love y'all see my grandkids here, and I love my grandkids to them. And honestly, I'm disappointed in what my son, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing to take care of those kids. You know what I'm saying? I get on him about it all the time. You know what I'm saying? It sickens me. Because I'm like, you wasn't raised like that. I didn't do you like that. Why are you doing your kids like that? You see what I'm saying? That bothers me. Any man that's out here and not taking care of the responsibility of taking care of his kids or leaving their responsibility on the mother. That bothers me to my core. I don't even hang out with people like that. I don't even like people like that, to be quite honest. Now, my son, I can't help it. You know, he's my family. But still, you know what I'm saying? Trust me, he's had some choice words thrown his way about the way he handled the situation with his kid. You know, so when you become a father, Again, that's your duty to make those sacrifices so they can have a portion. And that's what he was doing. He was going to Shiloh and he was making these sacrifices and he was giving a portion to his kids. And again, that's what I said when I say sacrifices. No, we don't sacrifice lambs and goats and sheep like they used to do back in the day. But when I say sacrifice, I'm talking about your time. Making sure you spend your time doing the right things. Instead of spending your time out there drinking and smoking and partying and hooking up with girls and hanging out with your friends, you spend your time going to work, doing what you need to do to make sure that your kids have a portion. That's making, excuse me, y'all, that's making the proper sacrifice so you can take care of your kids, and that's what I'm referring to. So again, he said, on the day that Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give portions to the sacrifice to Peninnah and each of her children. So again, number 3, as a man, it is your duty to make the sacrifices so that your children are taken care of. Whatever you got to do, whatever you need to get away from, whatever you need to say no to, you need to say no to those things so you'll make sure that you can be there for your kids and your kids will be well taken care of. So then he would say, so he would make these sacrifices. Now remember, Peninnah, she had children, but Hannah didn't. So it says, he will give portions of the sacrifice to Peninnah and each of her children, but he gave Hannah a special portion. In other words, she got a little extra something. You know what I'm saying? A special portion because he loved her very much, even though the Lord had given her no children. So again, you know that I say, even though the Lord haven't given her no children, because that's how they viewed it. People didn't have children, then the Lord didn't bless you. So that's why I said, number 1, don't take your ability to have the children for granted, because that's a blessing for the Lord, and everybody don't have that same blessing. But you know, they say he gave Hannah a special portion because he loved her very much, even though the Lord had given her no children. So that's going to be number 4. Number 4 is this again. This is just some general, like I said, as I read through this chapter and I put the lesson together, just some general things that I came up with. So number 4 is this. So they kind of all over the place, but it goes along with what we're reading. So number 4 is this. Be sure to let your significant other know that you still love them despite their shortcomings. Okay, so again, just be sure to let your significant other know that you still love them despite their shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? And I said significant other, so they can be a woman with a man or a man with a woman. Either way, you know what I'm saying? It can go either way. But make sure you let them know that even though they may have made a mistake, or not, now I'm not talking about like cheating or something. I'm just talking like shortcomings. Example, like I remember this one time back when the day, I think I've told y'all before, at one point I was working like 100 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? I was basically like killing myself. I was sleeping like 3 hours a day and working. And I was just, I'm killing myself, but we was in so much debt, and you know what I'm saying, we had all the kids, it was when they was really young too, that, you know, this is what I do to take care of them. And I'll never forget, I had this one job, I had 2 good jobs. One job, I was making like $22, and then I found this other job making like $17. So, I mean, together, I'm making like $37 an hour. And so, you know what I'm saying, I was like, man, I was doing it, but both of them were full-time jobs. And it got to a point where I started slacking off. You know, you can't work 2 full-time jobs. It's hard. You're gonna end up slacking off somewhere. And not only was I not getting to spend time with the family, but I started slacking off on one of the jobs. And one of the jobs, the one that for the $17, it wasn't my main job, but they had like a 90-day trial period or whatever. You know, you made it past 90 days, you get to get hired on. And I'll never forget it, man. It was the week before my 90 days was up. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there, and the people end up calling me into the office. I'm like, what this? I never forget it. I was sitting there thinking about what I want to have for lunch, because we had a Subway right around the corner, so I basically ate Subway like every day. So I was sitting there thinking about what sub I'm going to have, and you know, when I go for lunch, and they called me in the office, and you know what I'm saying, they was in there, I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on here? And man, they set me down, they hit me with the news, like, oh man, we're going in a different direction. You know, they the little spiel they give you, we're going in a different direction, blah, 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 and you know, we just don't think you're going to fit, and we're going to have to let you go. So man, when they said that, my heart dropped. Like, oh, my heart dropped. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I really needed that job. I really needed that job for us to be able to keep the house going, keep the bills paid and all that stuff. I really needed that job because at the time I was in a lot of debt. And I really needed that job to keep everything going. So I went home and I'm all depressed, and you know what I'm saying, I'm like, man, what am I going to do now kind of thing. And so I go home and I was going to tell my wife what happened. And immediately she jumped into, like, she, you know, when they had picked my head up, like, look here, don't you think that you didn't fail this family. Like, we got to cut back, we'll cut it back, you know what I'm saying, whatever. You know what I'm saying, whatever we got to do to make this work out. So honestly, I'm glad, because you was killing yourself anyway. You know, you weren't going to be able to last too much longer like that anyway. So I'm glad you lost the other job. It's like, we just make our little adjustments or whatever, and, you know what I'm saying, we're going to keep going forward. And then, you know what I'm saying, so I went and I'll never forget when I went and I just took me a nap. Whenever I got get some bad news, for some reason, a nap always made me feel that so much better. So I went and took me a nap. I woke up feeling a little bit better, and I'll never forget it. And I might be sharing a little bit too much information with y'all, but I'll never forget, my wife gave me some of the best loving I had that in a while, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say it, because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, when you're in a relationship, and you know, women do, men don't do it as much, so, you know what I'm saying, so I'm not picking on women, but a lot of times when you're in a relationship and something happen where you lose money or your income ain't quite what it was, you're going to have to do some cutback. Women tend to cut back on the intimacy as well. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know, they don't realize what that do to a man's psyche when, you know what I'm saying, his woman cut off the intimacy to him. You know what I'm saying? And what she did, she wanted to let me know that no matter what, I still had your back. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, she put it on me that night. You know what I'm saying? And the very next, not even a few days later, I went around the corner messing around, and I ended up getting a job at Taco Bell at the time. And I ended up working there until I finally left there and got the job to where I'm at now. You see what I'm saying? But what she did, my whole point of that, what she did was to show me that, yes, I lost that job that we really didn't need so we can get by. But she showed me, just because I lost that job, I didn't lose her love. She showed me that she still loved me, even though me losing that job was going to put us in a bind. You see what I'm saying? So that's what Elkanah was doing to his wife Hannah. He knew that she was depressed because she didn't have children. You know what I'm saying? He knew her, you know what I'm saying, how bad she felt. Matter of fact, this girl, his other wife, Anaya, she's a jerk, and we're gonna see her in the next line how much of a jerk she was. But he knew how depressed and how sad she was, and how she felt because she wasn't able to give him a child. Because again, like I said, back in those days, that was a disgrace. So he knew that he knew how she felt. So he wanted to make sure she knew that even though, yes, you haven't been able to give me a child, yes, you haven't been able to do your wifely duty of give me a child or whatever, but that don't diminish my love for you. I still love you. And that's why he gave her that special portion to let her know, yes, I still love you. And we have to do the same. And we did that again, you know what I'm saying? I talk about having a consistent relationship with God. We got to do the same thing with our spouses when you with your significant others. Whether, you know what I'm saying, married or just, a long-term relationship, whatever it is, you got to do the same thing. You got to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? If you love them while they got all the money rolling in and you're able to take the trips and all that stuff, you got to still be able to love them if something happened and you're no longer able to do those things and have that money to go splurge and shop and things like that. You got to be able to love them the same. You know what I'm saying? But if the moment the money dries up, you turn your heart away from them and you take that love away from them, then it shows you that you didn't really love them in the first place. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same with God. When the moment things start going bad and you start turning your heart away from God and start turning your back on God and getting away from things of God, that shows God that you never really did love him in the first place. You only love what he can do for you. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing there. When somebody come up short in a relationship, now they have to cheat and doing wrong. That's another thought. But if it's just something happen, they just a shortcoming, they lose a job or whatever. It happens all the time. Men get laid off just out of the blue. Company, downsize and somebody get laid off. I remember this company I work for now. When I first started, we had 30, 40 some employees, and then a new company bought us out. And a few months after they bought us out, they announced that they're going to cut the staff in half. So those guys that had been working there, I'm talking about 30, 40 years, all of a sudden was without a job. This one guy, he was so pissed. I think he had been there for something like 30 some years. And he was 60 years old, so he wasn't old enough to retire yet. But I mean, way too old to go get another job. And all of a sudden, they tell him they got to, they got rid of him. You see what I'm saying? So stuff like that happens out of the blue. So when stuff like that happens, don't change. Don't start giving him the cold shoulder because he lost his job, because he have a shortcoming. You know what I'm saying? Show him that, hey, no matter what, I still love you. Especially if you're married, what they say, for better or worse, through sickness and health, till death do us part. Showing that you really mean that. And that's what Elkanah was doing. He was showing look, baby, I know that you want to have a child. I know you've been unable. The Lord haven't blessed you with a child. But I don't love you any less because of that. I'm still going to show you that I still love you no matter what. And we should do that. We do that more in our relationship. Relationship will last a lot longer. Letting our significant other know that no matter what we're going through, no matter what happens, we still got each other's back. I still got your back as long as you still got my back. So be sure to let your significant other know that you still love them despite their shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? And how do you do that? Just show them that you care. Like with him, he gave her a special portion. You know what I'm saying? Something that I do with my wife, and not that she have shortcomings or anything like. She ain't worked it forever, but you know what I'm saying. But that's by design. But I mean, just if I go to the store and if I go out and I grab me something to eat, I bring her something back too. You know what I'm saying? If I get something, I'm gonna bring something to her. I'm gonna show a portion of it to her. Let her know that I love her and I'm always thinking about her, no matter what's going on. Cause she's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect neither. I'm not a perfect husband or father. I know I can probably do more around the house. You know what I'm saying? Do pay more attention to her. I probably spend more time with y'all than I spend with her, but that's probably a good thing because when we do spend time together, I just get on the nerve. Especially like when I'm on vacation. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? But I always try to let her know, without a doubt. I don't want her to have to guess. I don't want to have to think. I don't want her to wonder if I love her. I'm always showing her that I love her every day. That's the best thing to do. I try to find a way to show her that I love her every single day. It ain't no, well, I told you a couple of years ago, and if anything changes, I'll let you know. It's none of that. I try to let her know on a regular basis that I do love her. And that's what Elkanah was doing here. Again, he was like letting his wife know. He knew where her mind was at. He knew her mindset. He knew how she felt. He knew how bad she felt because she couldn't give him a child. He knew what she was going through because she couldn't have a child. And he wanted to reassure her that, hey, yes, you can't have a child, but that don't mean I don't love you any less. I still love you. And that's why he gave her that special portion. So we should do the same. Be sure to let your significant other know that you still love them despite their shortcomings. So again, these are just some general stuff for just life in general. Now let's look at this low down scoundrel, this other lady, Peninnah. You know what I'm saying? And what she did. So it says again, Elkanah tried to encourage his wife Hannah. You know what I'm saying? Even though she was barren, he tried to always encourage the wife, gave her a special portion. But watch what Peninnah did. So it said, but Peninnah made fun of Hannah because the Lord had closed her womb. Year after year, it was the same. Peninnah would taunt Hannah as they went to the tabernacle, and Hannah would finally be reduced to tears and would not even eat. You see what I'm saying? She was messing with her and turned her down because she gonna have kids. Like I said, that was a shame back in the day not to be able to have kids. You know what I'm saying? And so Peninnah knew that, and I'm guessing, with two wives, you're gonna have a little bit of a rivalry there, because you know how y'all women are. Y'all can get mad at me all you want, but women are cat-like. They have their territories, and they don't like other cats around their territory. And of course, back in the day, that was common to have more than one wife, but it still don't mean they always got along. And you can see here, matter of fact, you see that here, and you remember when Jacob was married, because he married Rachel and Leah. And you remember, they was always in competition with each other. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, that's why he got so many kids, because they were trying to have a competition to see who can get the most amount of kids. And you remember, Rachel actually couldn't have kids. Leah had like 6, 7 kids. 6, I think, of the 12 tribes, 6 of them came from Leah. You know what I'm saying? And then 4 of them came from concubines, two concubines each. And then finally, the Lord blessed Rachel after some prayer and supplication. He finally blessed Rachel what she was able to have too. But it was kind of the same situation. Leah would talk so bad about Rachel because Jacob loved Rachel more than he loved Leah, because that's the one he actually wanted to marry. And Leah's dad kind of tricked him into marrying Leah, kind of thing. So he loved Rachel more, but Rachel didn't have kids. So what Leah would do, she would throw it in her face, taunt her and everything, and make her feel bad. You know what I'm saying? To where she was reduced to tears. And that was this lady Peninnah was doing. You know what I'm saying? She knew the situation this woman was in. She knew how she felt, and she just made it worse for her. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it was a little bit of competition there, and I'm pretty sure because, there was some frenemies. So this is going to be number 5 point here. When I read this, it made me think of this. And this is something from the Bible. Do not rejoice, and number 5 is this, do not rejoice in the plight of others. You know what I'm saying? If you really trying to be a Christian, if you really call yourself a Christian, and you really claim to have a relationship with God, you know what I'm saying, you will not rejoice when others fall down, even if it's your enemies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You should not be happy when you see something happen to your enemies. You should not be happy when bad things happen to others. You know what I'm saying? Don't rejoice. Matter of fact, if you go over to Proverbs I'm going to Proverbs chapter 24, verses 17 and 18. Proverbs tell us this. It says, do not rejoice when your enemies fall into trouble. Don't be happy when they stumble. For the Lord will be displeased with you and return his anger away from them. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, if you sitting there and you rejoicing because somebody did you wrong and now something bad happened to them, you rejoicing, the Lord might, you know, so he might have been punishing. The reason why the bad things happening is because he was punishing them for what they did to you. But then when he see you rejoicing and the fact that he's punishing them, he might turn his anger away from them and turn it back to you. You see what I'm saying? You shouldn't rejoice when you see people fall. You know what I'm saying? When you see people fall, if you really call yourself a child of God, when you see people fall, you see them fall off, where they're in a bad situation, whatever's going on, you should pray for that person. You know what I'm saying? You should pray for that person. Again, even if they're your enemy. You know, I had a situation, honestly, like I'm thinking about like doing this lesson and I couldn't do it last night. It's honestly probably a good thing I didn't do it last night because I actually wasn't, I mean, I always try to, you know, pray and get myself in a certain mood to do the work, but I was actually in a kind of a bad mood, had a kind of a bad, I'm going to say a bad day at work, but I just kind of had a little altercation with a person at work yesterday and it really put me in kind of a pissy mood. And I was just going to kind of push through it and go ahead and do this lesson anyway. But I guess God saw fit for that not to happen. So I was able to do it. So I ended up doing it tonight. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? So if that person I got into it with, something was to happen to him, I wouldn't be a true child of God if something was to happen to him. And I'm like, I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? God got him back kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not a child of God would not do. That's not something a true child of God would do. You see somebody stumble and you see somebody fall, you see them going through something, then what you need to do is pray for them if you really call yourself a child of God. Because you never know. Again, the Lord can take their situation away and switch it on you. And you'll be the one that is falling, that's going through some things. You know what I'm saying? You should, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're not rejoicing in somebody's downfall, because you never know, because it only takes the Lord can switch the situation just like that. And then we can see from the story, you know what I'm saying, she's sitting here messing with Hannah about what she's doing, you know, not being able to have kids. And you know what I'm saying, Hannah of course reduced her to tears, but she went to the Lord in prayer and the Lord blessed her with a child, and her child ended up becoming the first prophet in the nation of Israel in a long time. You know what I'm saying, gonna actually be the prophet that anoints the first king of Israel. Whereas we don't hear nothing about Peninnah. They don't even name Peninnah's child. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, this book is named after Hannah's child. You see how the Lord blessed her? You know, Peninnah, yeah, she has some children, but what do her children do? They just say she has some kids. They don't even say how many. They were so insignificant, they don't even say how many kids she had. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, Hannah, we reading this book, and this book is named after her son. And her son, when she found the Lord did find a blesser, her son ended up becoming the first prophet in Israel. And like I said, maybe 100 years. I don't know the exact time frame, but it was a long time. And it was definitely a few generations. So don't rejoice when you see people down. You don't rejoice in the plot of others, because you don't know what the Lord is going to do to those people or for those people. You know what I'm saying? And you sitting there rejoicing them falling, and next thing you know, you're going to be the one falling. The Lord going to take his anger or his wrath away from them and put it upon you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he didn't necessarily put his wrath on Peninnah, but I know she had to be jealous that when Hannah finally had a son, her son ended up becoming a prophet, the prophet of Israel, and Peninnah's children ain't even mentioned. They don't even, they were so insignificant, it don't even tell how many of them it was. It don't mention their name or nothing. You know what I'm saying? But yet Hannah had this child, and he ended up becoming the very important, really the highest person up until Saul and David came along. The highest person, he had the highest position in the nation of Israel, because he was Israel's leader. You know what I'm saying? All because of this woman sitting here messing with her and turning her down and making her feel bad by not having kids. The Lord turned it on her head, and he ended up blessing Hannah more than he blessed Peninnah. So that's why I say, man, when you see somebody down, the point of that though, if you see somebody down, even if they're your enemy, even if they're somebody that's done you wrong in the past, do not rejoice when you see them down. Do not rejoice when you see stuff happening to them. You know what I'm saying? Pray for them. You know what I'm saying? Pray for them when stuff happens to them, and that way, not only will they receive a blessing, but you'll receive a blessing as well, because the Lord knows what you did. He knows that person messed you over. He knows that you could have rejoiced, but instead of rejoicing, you would actually pray for them. That's how you show God that you truly one of his children. So number 5, do not rejoice in the plight of others. So then again, they're in a situation, Again, all this is just intro to Samuel. We're going to get a little bit more into in chapter 3. We're going to really get into Samuel. But the first 2 chapters are really just kind of intro and telling what all had to happen for Samuel to be here. So again, Hannah, saying was being teased by her not a sister-in-law, but the other wife of Elkanah, to the point where she wouldn't even she'd be reduced to tears, and she wouldn't even eat. That's how sick she got. So then it said in the next verse, verse 8, it says, Elkanah, because he always knew something was going on with his wife, so he would come to him. Verse 8, he says, "What's the matter, Hannah?" Elkanah would ask, "Why aren't you eating? Why be so sad just because you have no children? You have me. Isn't that better than having 10 sons?" You know what I'm saying? So there's a point there. That's something that I think that us as Christian, I think this thing here, this point here, is the reason why a lot of us end up getting out of the will of God. This is why a lot of us don't go farther in our relationship with God. And I think it's because we don't understand, we don't learn how to be content. So number 6 is this: learn to be thankful for the blessing you have and not focus on what you don't. And that's what I kind of saying, like, look, I know you want kids. I know how important it is. I know that's one of the greatest rewards of being a mother. But look, you got me. You got me. You got somebody that loves you, that's here for you. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you focus on that? Why are you so sad to where you're not eating when you got a husband? There's women out here that don't have husbands. You know what I'm saying? There's women out here that's single or had a husband and their husband passed on. You know what I'm saying? So now they're widows. You got me. Why not be happy for that? You know what I'm saying? So he's telling her, focus on what you do. Yes, you don't have kids, but focus on what you do have. You have a loving husband that cares for you and is willing to make that sacrifice to take care of you. So number 6, learn to be thankful for the blessings you have and not focus on what you don't. And that's what gets a lot of us in trouble a lot of time. That's what keeps us from really being able to receive the blessings from God, because we're so upset. Even though God has given us something, it's not what we want. I got a car, but it's not a Benz. You know what I'm saying? I got a house, but it's not a mansion. I got some money in the bank, but it's not a lot of money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? I got a job, but it ain't a job. We're never satisfied with what we have. And that's why I love Paul. Paul, truly one of my favorite people in the Bible. And Paul, the reason why he was so successful in his ministry, the reason why he was such a blessing to the world, really, is because he had this concept that he lived by, and he knew how to be content. Over in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verses 10 through 13, watch what Paul say. He said, "How grateful I am and how I praise the Lord that you are concerned about me again. I know you have always been concerned for me, but for a while you didn't have the chance to help me. Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to get along happily whether I have much or little." In other words, I've learned to live. Matter of fact, in King James, I'm going to read King James on that. He said, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content." See what I'm saying? Being content. He said, "I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty stomach, with plenty or little. For I can do everything with the help of Christ who gives me the strength I need." And of course, that's the famous verse from King James. If you read it, you'll probably recognize a little bit more. 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ which strengthen me." So see, he was saying, be content, be happy with what you have. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you live in a project and it's not a mansion. Be happy that you got a place to live. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got a car, but you know what I'm saying, the hubcaps don't match on it. You know what I'm saying? It's an old car with hubcaps and they don't even match. At least you got a car that's going to get you from A to B. Excuse me, y'all. Be happy with what you have. Because, see, that's what messed up Adam and Eve. If you think about it, if you look back at it, that's what really caused the first sin. Not being content. Because what happened? When God created Adam and Eve, you know what I'm saying? He created the earth, the heavens and the earth, and the gardens and all that stuff. And then he created Adam and Eve, and he put them in the garden. And what did he tell them? He said, man, you can eat from any tree. You can have anything here. You know what I'm saying? All of it's yours except for this one tree here. You say you can have everything else. You know what I'm saying? If it's a million trees here in this garden, I don't know how many it was, but if it was a million trees in the garden, you can have 900,999 of them. I guess I get that right. I might have missed it, but just not this one. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And what happened with what happened with them? They was upset that they couldn't touch the one. You know what I'm saying? The devil came, man, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't, and matter of fact, the devil even used it on him. He was like, man, you telling me God won't let you eat from all the trees, all the trees around? And what he said, no, God, he didn't say we couldn't eat from all the trees. He said we can eat from every one of them, just not this one. You know what I'm saying? Don't eat, we can't eat from this one, because if we do, we're going to die. You won't die. God just know if you eat from that one, you're going to be just like him. You see what they want? You're going to be just like him. You're going to have the same power that he has. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have the knowledge of good and evil. So instead of them being happy and content with what they had, what they wanted what God had. God has given them everything. He had made the garden and had given them everything. And instead of them being happy with everything, that they wanted the one thing they didn't have, which is the fruit that he said that they shouldn't have. And the reason why they wanted that fruit, because they wanted the same power of God. Because that's what the devil said. You just know if you eat there, you're going to be just like him. You know, you're going to be just like, if you eat there, you're going to be just like him. And you know what I'm saying? Basically, if you eat this fruit, it's going to make you a God. You know what I'm saying? Who wouldn't want to be a God? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Who would want that power? Anybody be enticed by that? You know what I'm saying? But they had a command not to touch that fruit. You know what I'm saying? You can have everything else but that. Why mess with that? You got everything else. You know what I'm saying? What she should have said was like, look, man, God has already given me everything. I don't need that. I don't want to be God. I just put my faith and trust in him to give me what he wants. If he want me to have that fruit, maybe one day he'll tell me I can have that fruit. But until he tell me I can have that fruit, I'm not gonna touch it. You know what I'm saying? That would show that she was content with what she had, but she wasn't content with what she had. So because when he said that, God, you know, if you eat that fruit, God know you're gonna be just like him. What it said? It said, if you read, it said she looked at it and it did look good for eating. You know what I'm saying? The fruit did look pretty delicious. So what she do? She took from the tree and ate of it. And then she took some to her husband. See, she wasn't content. She wasn't content. And that's what happened to a lot of Christians. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the reason why a lot of times we get out of the word, a lot of times we get out of church, a lot of times we get out of relationship with God because we're not content with the things that God has blessed us with. Yes, I would like to have another house, but I thank God every day for this house that I do have. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I would like to have another vehicle, but I thank God every day for the vehicle that I do have. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I would like a hotter wife, but I thank God for the wife I do have. Don't tell her I said that. Y'all don't tell her she'll kill me. I hope she ain't watching. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, be happy with what you have. I remember one of my favorite artists, J. Cole, he had a song called Love Yours. And that's exactly what he's talking about. You know, he said, you're never going to love yourself. You're never going to appreciate what you have as long as you're out there looking for stuff that you don't have. Love what you have. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he said, you know, it's always going to be a harder chick out there. That's why I thought of that with my wife. He says, it's always going to be a chick harder than the one you got. There's, you're always going to be a house bigger than yours. There's always going to be some clothes that's nicer than yours. You know what I'm saying? But love yours. He said, you never ain't going to be happy until you love yours. So love yours. Learn to be thankful for the blessing that you do have and not focus on what you don't. And if you do that, you'll see that your perception of the world will change, your perception of God will change, and your happiness will change. You will be a lot happier than you are because you're not always out here worrying about the things you don't have, and you're happy with the things that you do have. So, number 6, learn to be thankful for the blessings you have and not focus on what you don't have. Learn how to be content. That is the key to peace and happiness in your life. If you can learn how to be content in any situation, that's what Paul said. I've learned the key. I learned the secret to living in a situation. Just being content. You know what I'm saying? Again, that don't mean you can't strive for better. That don't mean you can't work hard to have more. But don't let the fact that you don't have better, or don't let the fact that you don't have more make you bitter and keep you out of the will of God because you're so bitter that you don't have these things that you want, when in reality you have everything you need. Be content with what you have. Work, like I said, work hard to get better. That's not a crime at all, but it is a crime when you're upset and you walk around bitter because you don't have the big house and your neighbor do, or you don't have a nice car and your neighbor do, or your buddy do. That's when it becomes a problem. When it lets you, when it alters your mind and the way you think and the way you do things, and it makes you bitter because you don't have those things. Then you're not truly being content, and you got to learn how to be content. If you learn how to be content, then guess what? That'll be the key to peace and happiness in your life. So then the next verse, you know, we see when Hannah, she's you know, so we know what she's going through. She's in a situation. She wants kids, can't have kids. her counterpart is messing with her, making her feel bad because she can't have kids. So this is something you got to do. This is something that a lot of people do not do. A lot of even us Christians, we don't do enough of. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you got a problem arise, whenever you got a situation arise, you got to take it to the Lord in prayer. I remember that was one of my favorite songs that they used to sing all the time in church. Take it to the Lord in prayer. And that's what she did. Because look at verse 9, it says, Now, of course, they at the tabernacle again. Peninnah been getting on her, making her feel bad for not having a child to the point where she was crying and she wasn't even eating. So it says once when they were at Shiloh, Hannah went over to the tabernacle. So she went to church and after supper, went to church after supper to pray to the Lord. Eli the priest was sitting at his customary place beside the entrance, and Hannah was in deep anguish, crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. So what she did, she went to the Lord with her supplication. You know what I'm saying? It says she was in anguish. She went down there to the altar and poured her heart out to the Lord. She took it to the Lord in prayer. And that is the key. That's what you got to do. We so many times we try to solve our own problems. We try to do it ourselves, and then if it get too complicated, too far long, then we go to the Lord. Whenever I have something come up, I go to God first. That's the first thing I do. I go to God. God, I got this problem coming up. You know what I'm saying? Give me the wisdom to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Give me an idea on how to deal with it. Show me what I need to do. But I go to God first, and then I let God kind of direct the situation. You know what I'm saying? I had a situation come up a few weeks ago when I found out a health thing. You know what I'm saying? They did a EKG and it said they had something looked a little funky on my heart. And I went to the doctor, found out my cholesterol was through the roof. You know what I'm saying? But before I even did all that, when they first found out, because we just getting regular work filled at work, so that's when they discovered it. But once they discovered it, that night when I went home, what I did, I prayed, Lord, guide me to where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Let me come across the right doctors, let them make the right diagnosis, give me the wisdom I need to take care of the situation, and guide me where I need to be. And that's what it did. Then stuff just started working out. I had this one guy like, oh man, we got this great heart doctor. Is the guy I use. Go to him. He's one of the best in the business. So so I went to him. You know what I'm saying? And he looked over everything. And now we got some things we're working on to give me, to get my heart where it needs to be, kind of thing. Not that it's bad or anything, but I do got my cholesterol was like insanely high. And because of that, I'm starting to have some early things that may lead to a heart attack if I don't get it under control. But I call it early enough to where so I got plenty of time to work on it. So you know what I'm saying, we're straight kind of thing. So I'm working on that process. But I took it to God first. You know what I'm saying? I didn't just go straight to the doctors like, oh doc, what I got to do? Pump me for the drugs? What kind of pills I got to take to get to? I went to God first. And I told God to guide me in the situation. I just happened to talk to a buddy of mine, and he sent me to this heart doctor who's one of the best in the area, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So when you got a situation pop up in your life, take it to God first. A lot of times, because we don't have that close relationship with God, because we're not used to praying every day, because we're not reading our Bible every day, because we're not really walking with God every day, we have a tendency to put God on the back burner. So when stuff arises, a lot of times we forget that we need to take it to the Lord. That's the first thing we should be doing. The first thing we want to do is whine and pout and panic and get all bitter and upset because we go through the situation, when in reality the first thing we need to do is go to God in prayer. And that's what Hannah did. She knew she was in a situation that the only one that can do something about it was God. You know what I'm saying? So she went to the source. Because you got to understand, the thing we got to understand about prayer, and the reason why prayer is so important, because prayer has the power to do anything that God can do. Because that's basically what prayer is. Prayer is your request to God. You know what I'm saying? God, I know you can do this thing, so I need you to do this thing. I'm going to pray. I'm in prayer asking you to do this thing. That's God, I know you can touch my body and let the fruit of my womb come forward. I know you can do that with a touch from your hand. So please, Lord, let this happen. It said she was in anguish. She was crying bitterly. So she was down there in tears. As a matter of fact, she was crying so bitter, you know what I'm saying? She was crying so bitterly that the preacher, when he saw her, he thought she was drunk because she was, you know what I'm saying, pouring her heart out to God. So that's how bitter and how much anger she was in. But she took it to the Lord in prayer. And we're going to see, as we finish up the paragraph, we're going to see that not only did she take it to the Lord in prayer, she left it with him. Because sometimes we will take stuff to the Lord in prayer, but we don't let the Lord take care of it. We still try to, jump through all kind of hoops and do things on our own. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to take it to God in prayer, what's the point of you worrying about it? And we're going to see, you know what I'm saying, we'll take it to God in prayer, and then we still worrying about it the same night we took it to him in prayer. You know, if you're going to take it to prayer, if you're going to worry about it, don't even take it to the Lord. But if you're going to take it to the Lord, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's important to have that prayer life. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's important to have a consistent prayer life. Because you don't want to be one of them people, the only time you pray is when you need some stuff. You don't want to be that person. You know what I'm saying? The only time you pray is when you're in a bad situation. Again, you should be praying every single day. You should be reading your word every day. And that way you have a close relationship with God. So when you go make that request, God is going to be more likely to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Who are you more likely to share something with? If you come into some money, you got some money, who are you more likely to share it with? Somebody that you see and talk to every day, like your best friend, or somebody that you ain't talked to in 2-3 years, and all of a sudden they come out of blue ask you for money. You even again, I ain't talked to you in forever. Like, how you just gonna come out the blue asking me for money? You're gonna be a little skeptical about it. You know what you got going on where you just out the blue asking me for money kind of thing. You're gonna be a little skeptical about it. But if it's somebody that you see every day, you having lunch with every day, you talk to on the phone every day, and they come into something and they need some money, no problem. If you got it, you're going to give it to them. You see what I'm saying? And your prayer life should be the same. Don't just go to God only when you need something. You should be praying and working on your relationship with God every single day. And you should make sure as soon as that problem arises, whatever problem there is, your first thing you should do is take that to God in prayer. And if you do that, you'll see him answer those prayers, and you'll see him either answer those prayers. And it might necessarily be, he might just snap his fingers and it happens just like that, or he might just guide you in the direction to the right resources or the right people that'll help you take care of that situation. But either way it goes, you got to take it to God first. That should be the first thing you do. And like I said, once you take it to God, then leave it with God. Don't take it to God and then still be worried about it, because that means you didn't really believe, you didn't put faith in that prayer. You just went to say, I did. Well, God, I prayed, nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? When I go to the altar every single Sunday morning when I'm at church. And when I go to the altar, there's certain things I go pray for. And when I leave that altar, those problems that I went and prayed for is left on that altar. You know what I'm saying? I don't sweat it anymore. I put it in God's hand and I let God take care of it. And that's what Hannah did. And because she did that, the Lord is going to answer her. So it said so in verse 10 it says Hannah was in deep prayer and deep anguish and crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. So then in verse 11 it said, and she made this vow. Now I'm going to stop right there and make that a point right there. Something that I learned, I wish I would have learned it earlier, but something I learned is I got into my relationship with the Lord, and I went and got a little bit familiar with the Bible. Number 8 is going to be this. Don't make a vow. Don't make a vow. It's best if you read over. Matter of fact, when Jesus was teaching, he said, don't make a vow. He said, if you got to deal with somebody and you got to make a vow, some kind of extra promise to deal with that person, then you don't need to deal with that person. He said, you should have enough character that where if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. Or if you say you ain't going to do something, don't do it. And that's number 8. Don't make a vow. But if you do, have the character to go through with it. You know what I'm saying? How many times, and I know y'all, I'm not the only one that did this. Lord, if you just get me out of this situation, if you get me out of this, I promise you I'll be at church every Sunday. If you just get me out of this situation, I spend more time in my Bible. If you get me out of this situation, I spend more time with you. And then God get you out of that situation, and then you don't do none of the stuff you promised you were going to do. You go right back to the same old you. How many times have we done that? You know what I'm saying? I know one thing I'm going to have to answer for. I can't tell you how many times back in the day where I promised God that I was going to stop smoking weed. Lord, I promise, Lord, I ain't going to smoke none again. And then somebody come to me like, man, I got some of that blueberry yum yum. Like, man, well, I ain't never had that blueberry yum yum. Well, I'm going to have to try that. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. You know what I'm saying? The last time I done it was about 4 years ago, and I've been doing good, so hopefully I can stick with it. But I know I'm going to have to answer to him before. Because when you make he said, when you make a vow, make sure you keep that vow, because you're going to still have to answer for that vow, whether you kept it or not. God ain't going to hear, oh, well, I made a mistake, or, you know what I'm saying, I spoke too rationally and all that. No, it's best, just what Jesus says, it's best not to make a vow at all. You know what I'm saying? If you don't make a vow, you should just say, Lord, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Lord, this is what I'm going to do. I'm trying to, I'm not, don't make no promise. Lord, this is what's in my heart. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try my best to get this thing done. But when you vow, oh, Lord, I promise you, if you do this for me, I'm going to do this thing, then guess what? You putting yourself in a bad spot. Because you end up not doing that thing that you vow you're going to do, then guess what? Now you got to answer for it. At some point, you're going to have to answer for it. Someday, you're going to stand before God, you're going to answer for that thing. So the best thing is, don't make a vow. Just have enough character to do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. and let it be that simple. And I said this last time I didn't make a vow, but I did the last time I smoked was almost 5 years ago. Now in January, make 5 years ago, and I just went to the altar and I just prayed to the Lord. I didn't make no promises, but I did tell the Lord, I'm giving this up because I want to serve you more. You know what I'm saying? Look, what up, Nana? Yeah, that blueberry yum. That was some good stuff. I ain't gonna lie, that was some good stuff. I'm not gonna say it was worth it, but it was some good stuff. But you know what I'm saying? But like I said, the last time 4 years ago, I just went to the Lord and said, Lord, I'm done with this weed thing, and because I want to serve you better, and plus I want to make sure I can provide for my family. I want to do something that can make me lose my job and not be able to provide my family, and I just gave it up. You know what I'm saying? No promises. But I have made promises in the past that I didn't keep. And that's why Jesus said, it's better not to make a vow. Just have some character, man. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that we are really lacking in our society right now, especially when our young people and our kids. There is no character. Nobody has the character to work for what they want. Everybody want to come up quick or just take from others, steal from others, scam others out of it. You know what I'm saying? They also don't have the character when they say they're gonna do something. They do it. Cause y'all know I go out every Saturday knock on doors. I go out every Saturday knock on doors, do soul winning. You try to tell people about Jesus. And I can't tell you how many people I've came across that said, "Oh man, I'm gonna come to you, come and look you up on Facebook and watch your sermons," or "I'm gonna come to you, Lost Sheep." I got like every other Tuesday when I have my Lost Sheep ministry, I have about 120 people in my phone that at some point had promised me they were gonna come to a meeting. So they gave me their phone number so I can text them the night before the meeting to let them know we're having a meeting. And out of the 120 people that I have on my phone that I text every other Monday to let them know we're having a meeting, I only have the same 4 or 5 people that show up every single time. You know what I'm saying? There's 115 others that promised they would come and they didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't twist their arm. I went up there, shared the gospel with them. I didn't make it. And this was something I don't do. You know what I'm saying? When I tell someone, when people ask me, mention something to me, or they say they're going to do something, hey man, you should check this out. If it's something that I will actually check out, I say, oh man, I'm going to do that. And if I don't do it, it wasn't for lack of trying. But if I know I have no intention to do it, because sometimes we do it out of courage. Oh, you know, I might check that out. I don't do that. If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And if I don't say I'm going to be there, then I'm not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I checked that out, and then I never do. You know what I'm saying? If I say I'm going to do something, I do it because I try to have the character to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like this, we got this one guy, he's a Seventh-day Adventist. You know what I'm saying? He even tried to, oh man, I want to do a Bible study with you. Because, you know, they believe a lot of little weird stuff like, you know, going to church on Sundays is the mark of the beast. And they believe in the Sabbath and all that stuff. So he's like, man, I want to do a Bible study with you. You know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we talk like an hour or something. And he's a good dude. And he's like, I want to do a Bible study with you. And you know what I'm saying? I told him, I was like, man, look, I ain't got the time to sit and go through Bible studies right now, especially with what I'm doing. I said, but I got a vacation in August, and you know what I'm saying? When August come around, I'll spend that time with you. You know what I'm saying? But I prayed on it as well, and the Lord put on my heart to go spend that time with him. I will. If the Lord just put on my heart to not spend that time with them, because I really don't believe the way they believe, then I'm going to let them know. I'm not going to just say I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to, because I told I said, it'll be August before I have time to do anything. So which is coming up in a couple of weeks, because it's my birthday, I always take a vacation. So when it come around, if my spirit not telling me to go study with this guy, I'm going to hit him up like, hey, look, man, I know I said I'm going to study with you. I just don't believe like that. I've studied my Bible. This is how I believe about it, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to let him know. You know what I'm saying? But if I got some free time and the Lord put on my heart to go study with him, I'll go study with him because I told him I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Have some character. You know what I'm saying? Stop just arbitrarily telling people stuff just to be nice or just to be courteous. You know what I'm saying? If you have no intention of doing something, don't do it. Like I said, I got a whole list of them, and I have to spend time, and the bad part about it is, you know what I'm saying, I send a text every single Monday, and so I have to go through my phone, and they only my phone let me send 20 at a time. So I got to go through my phone, send 8, 9, 10 texts. You know what I'm saying? That takes about 20, 30 minutes to get up this text sent out to all these people, and nobody never respond. You know what I'm saying? Now, I keep sending them to somebody, and every once in a while somebody be like, hey, man, stop texting me. And I say, all right, you have a blessed day, and I delete their number out. I won't text them no more. But until they tell me to stop texting them, I keep texting them because I'm hoping that maybe one day the Lord will bring them a conviction and, you know what I'm saying, and make them and bring on a conviction about being a person of the word and giving them character to actually show up to the meeting like they said they would. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that a lot. People are always making all these kind of rash promises, always saying they're going to do some stuff, and they never have any intention of doing, because we don't have character anymore. That's why our kids are in the situation they're in now. That's why our country's in the situation we're in. You get these politicians that sit there and lie, they get elected, say they're going to do this and do that, and they don't get in there and do anything they said they were going to do, because they have no character. So again, it's best not to, and I know that was kind of just that little short point, but I want to say that because there's something I had to learn the hard way. It's best not to, don't make a vow. You know what I'm saying? That's the best option. That's what Jesus himself said. Don't make a vow. But if you do make a vow, or you had made a vow, then make sure you have enough character to go through with that vow. Because again, you're going to, especially when there's a vow to the Lord, because someday you're going to stand before God, you're going to have to answer for why you did or didn't do that thing that you promised God that you was going to do. All right, so he said, and she made this vow. So Hannah, she was in deep anguish. She was crying to the Lord. She really wanted a child. So she took it to the Lord in prayer, because she knew he was the only one that can do something about it. So it says she made the vow, and she said, "O Lord Almighty, if you will look down upon my sorrow and answer my prayer and give me a son, then I will give him back to you. He will be yours for his entire lifetime, and as a sign that he has been dedicated to the Lord, his hair will never be cut." So that's going to take us number 9. What up, Cam? Glad you can be here, man. I appreciate you being here, brother. I know you've been under the attack, so I'm sending my good vibes your way, brother. But I appreciate you being here. So number 9 is this. Number 9 is be sure to use your blessings to enhance God's kingdom. Whatever ability God has given you, make sure you're using that for God's kingdom. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't understand why they're not successful. Oh, man, I have such a beautiful singing voice. Why am I not a star? No, I know I can sound better than this chick. You know what I'm saying? I have this. I'm a football, you know what I'm saying? I'm a beast on the football field. Why did I not make it to the NFL? I got the talent to do this. I got the talent to do that. Why am I not farther than where I am? It's because you're using that talent for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Any talent that God has given you, make sure you're using that for his kingdom. It's so many times, you know what I'm saying? I've seen people that had a talent and they started off using it for God's kingdom, and then they straight away. I always think about, you know what I'm saying, like Beyonce. You know, she started off she went from singing in the church, you know what I'm saying, all sweet and innocent, and now look at her. You know what I'm saying? She's Queen Bee now. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere she go, you know what I'm saying? Even when they first came out, they dressed modestly. You know what I'm saying? They gave a little leg here and there, but they dressed modestly. But now you see a concert, what she doing? Shaking her booty, half naked. You see what I'm saying? When I can't remember the last time I heard her say anything about the Lord. And of course, I don't watch her interview. She might, but you know what I'm saying? When she first came out, from where she was when she first came out and what she is now, is completely different. You see what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of times we don't have success, because God has given us a gift. He's given us a talent, but instead of us using it to amplify him, we use it to amplify ourselves. You see what I'm saying? I know, y'all know, I always talk about money, how broke I am. And really, I have a work ethic where I can easily have another job. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the amount I'm making right now. If I get another job making a decent, $10, $12, we'll be straight. You know what I'm saying? I can easily do that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't, because I know anytime, right now I have enough time to work the job I have, spend the time with my family, and do the ministry. So if I bring anything else in there, what's going to lose out is the ministry. I can't lose my family. You know what I'm saying? So the ministry going to lose out. So instead of using that work ethic to go get another job so we can be comfortable, we just make sacrifices, and we make, you know what I'm saying, we make it through. You know what I'm saying? I've never not had lights on. I've never not had food. I've never not had, you know what I'm saying, a roof on my head. I've made that sacrifice because I know if I do anything else, it's going to take away from the ministry. I remember one time this guy, when I was looking for work before I got this job, I was looking for work, and I came across this guy that was selling insurance. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a people person. Anybody know me know I love people. I'm a people person. That's one of the talent that God gave me as a child. That's something I recognized at a very young age, that I had a way with people. I've always been like, even though like I was the fat, black, poor guy when I was in elementary and everything, I was still one of the most popular kids. And that's usually not how that happened, because I've always been, you know what I'm saying, I've always been able to get along with people. I don't care. Man, I'm telling y'all can put me in a room with a dude sitting in a KKK outfit, you know what I'm saying, with a swastika in the middle of his forehead. And if he's willing to talk to me at all, I guarantee you, man, leave me in that room for an hour or two, man, me and dude come out there being best friends. I think I told y'all before, I've actually led a skinhead to the Lord before. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, I was at his trailer, and it was a long story, I ain't gonna get into that. But my point is, I always knew that I had a talent for being able to befriend people. I've always been a friendly person. I've always had a lot of friends. That's something that since a child, and I never knew like what I knew it was a talent. I knew it was a gift because everybody can't do it. Everybody can't get along with everybody like I can. I don't care you white, black, Mexican, wherever you put me at, I'm gonna get along. You know what I'm saying? And I never understood why. And now I know that I'm in the ministry. I understand because God's business is people business. God is in the people business. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not fat and black no more. I used to be back in the day. But you know, it's God's business, it's people business. So that's what I didn't realize it until I got older that this is why I had this talent to be able to get along with people because I can draw. Because that's what soul winning is. You know what I'm saying? That's what serving the Lord is, bringing people in. You know what I'm saying? Showing them that you care and bringing them in so you can get them to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? When I go out and knock on doors on Saturdays and I lead people to the Lord, first I had to know saying the concept is first I had to lead them to me. So first I gotta have to find some kind of connection to be with, you know what I'm saying, to connect with them, and then I can draw them into me. And as I draw them into me and I get them cool with me, then you know what I'm saying, I can. I wish I had a six pack. I got more of a kid, Cam. But again, you know what I'm saying, if I can draw them into me, then I can get them to the Lord. And that's why the Lord showed me I had that talent. So with me having that talent, selling insurance would have been right up my alley. Matter of fact, when I started, I didn't realize what it was at first. It's kind of like it's almost like a pyramid scheme because you know what I'm saying, you go out, you sell some insurance or whatever, and then if you can convince somebody else to come in and sell as well, then they're like under you. So whatever insurance they sell, you get a piece of it and then kind of go forward. And if you really want to put effort into it and you really hustle about it, you can make a lot of money doing it. But I just cannot I can't explain it, but I just cannot put my heart into doing that. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't for me. And the guy, you're like, man, you're so good at it. I mean, like within the first couple of weeks, I think I had like 2 or 3 sales within like the first couple of weeks. But I couldn't put my heart into it because I was using my talent, you know what I'm saying, using the talent I had to kind of bring other people in to this insurance thing to make money. And I wasn't using that talent to, you know what I'm saying, to build the Lord up. I was using the talent to build myself up. And I couldn't put my heart into it. You know what I'm saying? But this ministry, I put my heart into it. I love it. That's why I go out on Saturdays, man. And that's why it shocks me sometimes that, you know, it's bigger than it is. I'm like, man, I'm so freaking awesome. People love me. And people love talking to me. And we can sit there and talk for hours. But, you know what I'm saying? Look, people talking to you and actually getting them to commit to the ministry again because they don't have no character is 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? But I realized at a very young age, I had that talent of being able to connect with people. I just didn't know what it was for. And then once I gave my life to God 18 years ago, he showed me your purpose is to bring people to me. That's why you had a connection. You know what I'm saying? I go into jails, man, we connect. When I go into jail, like, oh, Brother John, you know what I'm saying? We think we best friends. You know what I'm saying? I can go to jail, I can go around rich people, I can go around poor people, I can go around black people, I can go around white people. I don't care where you put me at. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where you put me at, who you put me around. Like you put me around men, you put me around women. No matter where I'm at, no matter what situation, I'm going to make friends. You know what I'm saying? And it's to the point where like my wife, she laugh at me sometimes because we'll just be in Walmart. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be sitting there having a full conversation with somebody, and my wife went. Then the person walk out. My wife like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "I don't know." Yeah, what do you mean you don't know? Y'all just had a conversation. I could swear you're a best friend. I like, man, I just met that dude over there by the socks. You know what I'm saying? And I've had that. As a matter of fact, one time I was in Texas. I was in Texas a while ago. I was in Houston, Texas, doing some training. And I was in Walmart, and I had this shirt on from the football team. And this guy walked up behind me, and he's like, man, he said, man, I like it. It had a slogan on. I can't remember. I think it said the slogan was hard work. Something about hard work beats talent. Yeah, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. I misquoted, but it's something like that. And dude like, man, I love that quote. Can I take a picture of your shirt? And like, yeah. And next thing you know, we got to talking. Now it's about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. At this point, I was in Texas and I was just trying to get some little gifts before I go home to take back to the family. So I was there looking for like some shirts and stuff to take to the family or whatever. So me and this dude get to talking, and we stood in Walmart for an hour talking. And he's like, man, hey, you want to come to my house? I'm like, bet. So I just, you know what I'm saying, yeah, that's what it is. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. That's it. That was the quote. So, you know, next thing you know, I'm in Texas, you know what I'm saying, completely out of my element by myself. And I meet this random white guy, and next thing you know, I'm at his house, you know what I'm saying, eating with his him and his wife, you know what I'm saying? And we go and chill, and he was a white guy, and turns out he was in the music and everything. And to this day, I still talk to him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be in Texas in a few weeks, about 3-4 weeks, and I reached out to him like, hey man, I'm being in Texas. And I was like, cool, man, I'm friends on Facebook. I'm randomly at Walmart. That's the kind of thing that I have. I got a young lady that one day I called in to try to get a cell phone situation switched out. Got to talk to this lady. She had a weird, she had a name. Her name was Azaha. That was her name. And it was just like strange because she had just like a regular, American accent. And I'm like, man, does that like mean something? Are you from somewhere? I was like, where are you from? And she's like, Cleveland. I was like, well, that ain't got no significance to the name. And just got to talking, and she said, oh, well, my father. I said, I was like, does it mean something? And it was something that had to do with God. I said, oh man, you must be a very spiritual person then to have a name like this. She's like, no, honestly, I'm not. It's like, but my father was. He was the one that gave me that name. So we got to talking, and it turned out this young lady wasn't even saved. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, I call her by my cell phone. Don't y'all know we spent 2 hours on the phone? You know what I'm saying? And we talked so much and she couldn't give me her number. So she said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you my email, and it'll be my number be in the email. And she's like, I want you to call me. And I know what I'm saying, I end up talking to her. And long story short, about 2-3 weeks later, I end up talking to this young lady, and I was able to leave her to the Lord over the phone. Never seen her. Never she could be standing right beside me right now. I wouldn't even know her, but I was able to lead her to the Lord. And even every now and again, I get a text from her, hey, I'm doing good, because she had some stuff that she was doing that I had kind of talked to her about, drinking and stuff like that. And every once in a while I get a text, hey, I'm doing good, I'm not drinking like I used to, me and my husband get along, blah blah blah. Never seen this woman, just met over the phone. So see, again, that's the talent that I have, and God has showed me that. And I can use this talent if I wanted to really get ahead and make a lot of money, but I use this talent to serve the Lord. I use this talent to build God's kingdom, because that's the purpose of him giving me this talent, so I can build his kingdom. So that's what we got to do. If we do that, we start using the talent we have to build God's kingdom and not build our name for ourselves or reputation for ourselves, I guarantee you everything we do will be that much more successful, because we have God behind it. So again, number 9, be sure to use your blessings to enhance God's kingdom. You know what I'm saying? And that's what she was saying. Lord, if you give me a son, if you bless me with this thing, you give me this blessing, I'm going to get this blessing right back to you. And that's exactly what's going to happen, because her son is going to end up, she's going to give him to God, and he's going to end up being the first prophet in the nation of Israel in probably at least 100 years. Like I said, it could be longer than that. I know at least 2-3 generations, so it's probably around at least 70 years. But the first prophet in 100 years, and he's going to be the one that God is going to use to anoint the first king of Israel. Why? Because this lady got this blessing, and she's going to get this blessing back to the Lord, just like we should do. So when the Lord bless you with a talent, make sure you're using that talent to enhance God's kingdom. And if you do that, that's where you'll find your true success, by using that talent to enhance the Lord's kingdom. So then the next verse, so again, now the situation is she's in the temple, she's crying her heart out. She's praying because she don't have a child, and she wants a child so bad. So she's at the altar, and she's just pouring her heart out to the Lord. And then watch what these old fake Christians do. You know what I'm saying? This is one for you fake Christians out there, you judgmental Christians. Watch what happened. Now this is the preacher, right? Now he should be the most humble of all, and he see this woman over here pouring her heart out, and guess what he thinks? He said in verse 12, said, and she was praying to the Lord, and Eli watched her, seeing her lips moving but hearing no sound. So she was over there just moving because she was in anguish. You know what I'm saying? So he thought she had been drinking. Must you come here drunk? He demanded. Throw away your wine. You know what I'm saying? So this is the preacher. So instead of going over there and talking to her and finding out what was truly going on, he judged her. He looked at her and judged her and said, why you in here drunk? Throw your wine away. You know what I'm saying? And he the last person. When we get into chapter 2, we're going to see he the last person that should have been judged. And when you see what his sons are doing, like I mentioned earlier. But number 10 is this. Don't be so quick to judge. Of course, we've all heard that before. No, judge not, at least you be judged yourself. Don't worry about the speck in your neighbor's eye when you got a law hanging out yours. But don't be so quick to judge. That's one of the main things that push people away from the church. That's one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't go to church. They would go to church because they feel like when they go in church, they're going to be judged. Maybe because they got some yellow hair or pink hair, or their woman, their head is shaved, or they got tattoos all over them, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're afraid to go walk into the church because they feel they're going to be judged when they walk into the church. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one. When I talk to people, that's one of the main reasons when I talk to people and ask them if they go to church, and they say they don't go to church. One of the main reasons why they don't go to church, because they say every time I go to church, I feel judged. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people look at me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they don't have nice clothes to wear, and the best thing they have is a pair of jeans and an old crusty looking T-shirt. If that's all they got, that's all they got. You shouldn't be judging those people because you don't know what they're going through, and more importantly, you don't know if the situation they in. You might not be there someday yourself. You see what I'm saying? So don't be so quick to judge people. And that's one thing people have told me. The reason why they enjoy my ministry, the reason why they enjoy talking to me. I have a lot of people I talk to that don't even, I got this one atheist guy. I've been talking to him for 5-6 years. And when I go to his house, welcome him to his house. And he know I'm a preacher. You know what I'm saying? He know I'm going to talk about God. He been talking to me for 5-6 years. Because people has always told me, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel judged when I talk to you. I don't feel you judging me. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I feel you're trying to help me. And that's what you got to do. You can't be judging. If you're judging people, you're going to push them away from God instead of pulling them closer to God. So don't be so quick to judge. You don't know what the person is going through that got them in that situation that's in. And you don't know how close you are to being in that same situation. So when you're sitting there judging, and then next thing you know, you end up in the same situation, then guess what? You're going to feel bad because you realize that you didn't judge that person, and you in the same situation they in, or God has flipped the script and put you in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? So until you walk into somebody's shoes or you get to know them or truly know their situation, then don't judge them. I don't judge anybody because I'm the first to tell anybody. I'm the last person that should be judging anybody because I know the wrongs that I have. I know the wrongs that I've done. I know the things that I've done. You know what I'm saying? So I have no room to talk about anybody about anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's how my ministry is. That's why it's called a Lost Sheep Ministry. I want you to come in. I always call my people my little group of misfits. You know what I'm saying? One of them right here, Ashley, right now. My little when people talk, I always call them my little group of misfits, and that's what we are. We're a group of misfits that really love the Lord, and we're really working on our relationship with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's what I like. And I don't know judgment. You know what I'm saying? My people, they got issues. They got stuff they go through, and I talk to them about it. You know what I'm saying? And I let them know how I feel about it. I don't lie to them, but I don't judge them neither. You know what I'm saying? I don't say, oh, well, because you're doing that, you can't come here. Because you're involved in this, you can't come here. I don't do that neither. You know what I'm saying? I just let them know with the most sincere heart that I can possibly can, and with the way, you know what I'm saying, with showing that I love them, but let them know, hey, I don't think this is a good look for you. I don't think this is the way you should go. I don't think this is what you should be doing. But just because you do it, don't mean you're not welcome here. You know what I'm saying? So don't be so quick to judge, because when you judge people, especially because you take on the title of a Christian and you judge people, a lot of times you make Christians look bad. You make the church look bad, and instead of bringing people toward God, you pushing people away from God. You know what I'm saying? And again, none of us have room to judge because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So then next verse, she had to sit there and defend herself. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't. The preacher then got all over her. Why you coming here drunk? Don't put your wine away. You know, why you coming here drunk? And what she had to do, she had to defend herself. She said, "Oh no, sir." She replies, "I am not drunk, but I am very sad, and I was pouring out my heart to the Lord." So see, she was actually doing what she was supposed to be doing, and he made her feel bad about it. And again, that's why a lot of people don't go to church, because church people will do that. They'll judge, and you know, these people trying to clean themselves up and try to get back to the Lord and do exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and then your church people come judge them and push them away even farther. So she said, "No, oh no, sir." She replied, "I'm not drunk, but I am very sad, and I was pouring out my heart to the Lord, as she should." She said, "So please don't think I am a wicked woman, for I have been praying out of great anguish and sorrow." So number 11 is this. This is something this is the mindset you got to have as you serve the Lord, as you do God's work, especially in this world today. Something you got to have. Number 11, don't let what others think of you keep you from doing the Lord's work. Don't let what others think of you keep you from doing the Lord's work. They might think you're a fanatic. Let them think you're a fanatic. If they think you crazy, let them think you crazy. But don't let what this world think of you keep you from doing God's work. Because a lot of times, that's why a lot of people don't want to go out soul winning, because they're afraid of what people are going to think of them. That's why a lot of people don't give tracts. That's because they're afraid what people are going to think of them. That's why a lot of times they don't say, they don't tell people, I'm going to pray for you, because they're afraid of what people are going to think of you. You know what I'm saying? You can't worry about what the people of this world think of you. You know what I'm saying? You just, as long as you know you're doing the right thing, as long as you know you're doing what God will have you to do, that's all that really matters. Don't worry about what this world think of you, because if you get so concerned with the world think of you, 9 times out of 10, when the world starts saying it's a bad thing to serve the Lord, when the world convince you that you shouldn't serve the Lord, then you're gonna stop serving the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, she went there in anguish. You know what I'm saying? She went there in anguish. She was upset. She was crying, pouring her heart out to the Lord, and the preacher gonna come over, why you drunk? Now, she could have easily took that and got offended by that and be like, well, forget this. If I'm going to go there and pour my heart out to the Lord, every time I go to church and pour my heart out to the Lord, I'm judged, they're going to think I'm drunk, then I'm just not going to go to church. You know what I'm saying? Now, thank God she didn't take that attitude, but there's a lot of people in church right now because of that did have the attitude, because they went in and somebody said something sideways to them one time, so now they don't want to go back at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've talked to several people, and that's the very reason why they don't go to church now. And because they went to church one time, they felt they got judged, and they never saw fit to go back. You see what I'm saying? Or they went to a church, or they went to another church, but they didn't go back to that particular church. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody judged them. You see what I'm saying? And because somebody judged them, they got offended, and they got them out of the work, got them out of the church, got them out of the work of God. They was on their way to getting themselves back to where they need to be, and now they ain't. They got back off the path because they was more concerned with what somebody else thought. You see what I'm saying? So that's why when you make it up in your heart that you're gonna serve the Lord, you just serve the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what they say about me. You know what I'm saying? Because they talk about me. They say what they want to. I don't care. None of that is going to stop me from doing God's work. I don't care what this world say. I don't care what my family say. I don't care what my friends say. I'm going to serve God's work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to serve God's purpose, and I'm going to do the work. No matter what people think about me, no matter what they say about me. Because again, if you get concerned with what the world think and what the world say, you would easily get out of the will of God and not go forward with the work that the Lord has for you to do. So number 11, don't let what others think of you keep you from doing God's work. She was doing exactly what she was supposed to do. She had a problem going on. She was in this messed up situation that she didn't want to be in, and she went to the one, she had this problem, and she went to the one with the solution. You know what I'm saying? She went to the main one that had the solution, which was God. She was doing exactly what she's supposed to do, and this old judgmental Christian, supposed to be Christian, supposed to be church person, judged her and almost got her out of the will of God. But thank God her faith was strong enough, and she was one concerned with what he was saying. She was only concerned with what God had for her. And because of that, she's going to end up being able to get a mighty blessing. So, y'all, I'm going to stop right there. I'm almost at 2 hours. I wanted to still do an hour and a half, and I went a little bit over. So I'm going to stop right there at verse, verse 16. And then next week, God willing, I come back and I do the rest of the chapter and maybe get into chapter 2. Because there's a lot of stuff here, and I've realized that I can't do much more than 10, 11 points, or it's going to be way too long. So I'm trying to work on that. So we're going to stop right there for now. With this being not an overall theme, just kind of general points, it's not going to mess it up with us picking back up here next week. So I'm going to stop right there for now. And hopefully, I said something here tonight that'll help you build your relationship with the Lord. Something here that you was able to help you maybe in the situation that you're in, whether it's taking it to the Lord of prayer or just not worrying about what people think about you, so you can go out there and do God's work. Don't let what people think about you, what this world say about you, keep you from doing God's work. It's so vital that you continue to go forward and do so no matter what the world thinks. So again, I'm going to stop right here tonight. And God willing, next Monday night, if it ain't storming and my internet messing up, I'll be back and we're going to finish up chapter 1 and maybe get into the first part of chapter 2. So with that being said, I'm going ahead and do my finishing announcements. Of course, if there's anything in particular that you would like for me to talk about that I haven't covered yet in a certain story of the Bible that I haven't covered, you would like me to cover, reach out to me, inbox me, and let me know. I can always work that into my lesson plan. Be sure to keep sharing the videos and telling others about the videos as well. My views has been going up, man. That's been a blessing to me. The views have been going up, and I know it's because y'all telling people about me and the things of that nature, tagging people. So continue to do that so this ministry can continue to grow and we continue to help bring the heart of this world back to the Lord. Of course, if you're watching this video and you're not 100% sure that if you was to die today, you was go to heaven, please reach out to me and let me know. That is the most important decision that you will make. Please reach out to me and let me know so I can schedule some time to go over the gospel with you, or guide you somebody. If you think I talk too much, I can guide you to somebody else that'll be willing to share you the gospel with you. But please let me know so you can make that decision before it's too late to go through that door called death. Of course, if there's anybody out there in need of spiritual counseling, got some things, Bible questions or whatever, just want to talk about God, reach out to me and let me know as well. Reach out to me and let me know as well, and I will schedule some time in my schedule for me to spend that time with you and help you in whatever way I can. And of course, always, this is my YouTube page. If you want to catch some of my old sermons, if it's some sermons that you just started listening to me recently and then catch all my old stuff, you can go to my YouTube page, type in God's Service / Lost Sheep Ministries, and type that in, and it'll take you to my channel. Subscribe to the channel so you'll know every time I post a video, and you can go catch all my old videos there. I don't think I did the last two for Corinthians just yet, but everything else is there. It's pretty recent. So with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your night. I hope y'all are safe from the storm. Nobody didn't get it too bad. But more importantly, I just pray that the Lord touch your heart. Let this lesson touch your heart, and you can use these truths that we went over today to continue to build your relationship with the Lord. So I'm gonna go ahead and pray, and then I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thanks so much for giving us this wonderful lesson, Lord. As we look, again, no particular direction that it was going in, just a couple of good biblical points that I went over that I think were good to help people build a relationship with you, just things to think about, things that we can do to better our relationship with you, and also just better our relationship with the people in our world. So I just thank you so much for revealing those truths to us tonight. I thank you so much for the ones that took the time out of their schedule to be here tonight, Lord. The ones that stopped in, I had a couple that don't normally stop in, that stopped in. That's a blessing as well. So I thank you for letting them be here. But more importantly, I thank you for letting your spirit use me to bring your word constantly, Lord, consistently, Lord. I thank you for this ministry, the way it's grown. And I thank you for just using me and my family in a mighty way to honor and glorify your holy name. We actually just watch over us as we finish up this night. Keep us all safe. Continue to bless us and guide us in the direction we need to go. Keep your hand of protection upon us all as we rest up tonight. And pray we have a good, safe night of rest and wake up tomorrow ready to honor and glorify your name and serve your purpose once again. I pray you be with all my friends and family. Give them your power, love, and wisdom over any problem that may arise that may keep them from doing your work. And just continue to use them in the mighty way to serve your purpose and your will in our lives. I actually be with my friend, one of our ministry members, Ashley, and she has court tomorrow. I pray that you just to let things go right for her. I pray they have a good day. You get the judges and the lawyers and whoever is involved, the wisdom they see they need to make the right decision, so she may be able to continue to do the things that she need to do to continue to honor and glorify your name and to take care of her family, Lord. And I ask you just watch over all my friends and family, keep us all safe throughout the night. Watch over all your servants, continue to guide them in the direction they need to go to do your work, and give your power, love, and wisdom of any problem may arise that may keep them from doing your work, Lord. Watch over this country, help us turn our hearts back to you, and just be with your nation of Israel, keep them safe and protect them, turn their hearts back to you as well. And I just pray for the day when the world as a whole will all humble ourselves, pray, seek your face, turn from our wicked ways, so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins, and heal our lands. And I pray you just continue to use us all, Lord. Help us see the importance of getting our hearts to you, to use us all to do the work that you have for us to do. We thank you so much for this wonderful night. Thank you for this wonderful lesson. And we say this prayer in your wonderful Son, in Jesus' name. Amen. So, all right, y'all. Thank you, Ashley. Praying for you. Definitely pray everything go good. You get some good news. And just keep me posted on whatever go down. But hopefully it's something good. And I pray the Lord be with you. So thank y'all for joining me once again. I know when I'm normal night, I'll see a couple of my usual ones in here. They may not have been able to make it tonight, but hopefully they can watch the video later on. But I just thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank y'all for constantly encouraging me. And I pray that I was able to be an encouragement with y'all tonight. So until next Monday, God willing, 7 o'clock next Monday, I'll be back with y'all again. But until then, I love you all. I'm continue to pray for y'all. Continue to pray for me. And remember to always watch your back and pray. Until next time, I love you. Peace.